Let me tell you a story about a man whose life was transformed in a single day on the job. One morning, a man named Sabin was on his way to work. He arrived on time like any other regular day, but little did he know, this day would be anything but regular. It all started in the burn shack out back, behind the plant. He was heat shrinking the pallets. Then suddenly, a fire broke out, and the only thing keeping Sabin from safety was a bright wall of fire. He had to make a choice fast, and so he decided to run through the fire and face the flames, but it came at a cost. Sabin escaped the shack and fled to the woods confused, disfigured, and full of anger. He knew he couldn't return to the real world, and his life that he knew was over. Over time, Sabin found an abandoned cabin in the woods and made it his sanctuary. He then there inherited rabid tendencies, lost touch with his human side. His job filed a missing persons report to the police, so they searched the woods behind the building for hours, but he was nowhere to be found. Months went by, and the next person who would encounter Sabin was a young woman on her nightly jog named Susie Jenkins, but unfortunately, this wouldn't be a friendly encounter. She was kidnapped and taken to his lair, where what she was about to see next would change her life forever. What she seen before her own eyes was once a man, now turned monster. He took her to one of the rooms and asked her if she was ready. For what, she replied in a trembling voice of fear. The breeding, he said in a malicious tone. He drowned himself in laughter as he committed his cruel acts of injustice on his victim. While just miles away from this horrific scene, the police chief sergeant received a call from one of the locals who heard screams coming from the woods off I-85. So he made an announcement over the radio and ordered a group of officers to go and investigate the reported area. The police researched the area and expanded the perimeter this time, and hoped to find a different outcome, which is exactly what they got. One of the officers came across the abandoned cabin in the woods, unknowing of the evil that awaited outside. As he called for backup, he decided to enter the domain to see if he can catch the creature and capture the glory all for himself. But that was a mistake. While creeping through the house quietly, the officer stumbled across a room where he found a woman laying there in her own despair. But before he could even ask her name, the beast appeared in the doorway with a look of chaos and rage. He mauled the officer, leaving nothing but his limbs remaining in the hallway. Shortly after the rest of the search unit arrived at the cabin on scene, it was there they entered the confined area and searched the premises. They searched the whole building, but the woman was nowhere to be found. Then suddenly they heard a noise coming from under the flooring in the house. So they broke open a hole in the floor to find a secret tunnel leading into the darkness. As soon as one of the officers shined his light into the dark abyss, the monster lunged out and attacked a group of policemen. Their fate was inevitable, and before the final officer was ripped apart limb from limb, he unclipped a grenade in his back pocket. The explosion of the grenade defeated the beast and destroyed the cabin that was no longer standing. All of the officers died that day in a heroic effort that came up short of finding the missing persons, Susie Jenkins, who has still not been found. The mutilated body of the beast was taken to the research facility up in North Carolina, awaiting tests to figure out the explanation to his mutation. But until then, we will never know what unleashed inside to turn this man into the monster known as Sabin.